Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Uplift. I'm Reverend Patti Paris from Vision, here to uplift you. Well, we're uplifting each other, really, just by being together, just by having these conversations. It uplifts everyone, myself included. So let's start with prayer. I give great thanks for this day. I am so grateful for life. I'm so grateful for love, for joy, for all of the qualities of God that I know flow through us, as us in the world. I know that they are qualities of each one of us. It is those same qualities that we demonstrate because we allow Spirit to flow through us and as us into the world. I give great thanks for all of that. I know it is all God. I know it is all good. And I just let Spirit have its way with me right here, right now, leading the way, holding the light high, and knowing and accepting it is all God, it is all good. And so it is. So good afternoon, happy Monday. How's everybody doing? It's another day of sheltering in place. I know we're all doing the right things. Just stay safe, stay healthy. We know that we're walking through this together, and we know that Spirit is with us and as us, so it is all well. I'm going back to 365 Science of Mind because it is so uplifting for me to read as a spiritual practice, a daily spiritual practice. I thought it's got to be for you as well, right? It surely has to be. So I'm going back to 365 Science of Mind. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, but these particular affirmations, these essays for each day of the year, they were compiled by Kathy Julien, but they come from the Science of Mind magazines back when Ernest Holmes used to write them himself. So all of these daily essays come from years and years of the daily words, right? That Ernest Holmes used to write. What are the Guides to Richer Living? I think they're called, in the Science of Mind magazine. And so these are all from those years, from the 30s and the 40s. You know, I think he let it go. I'm trying to think. Sometime in the 50s, I think he kind of let someone else take over the writing of the daily affirmations. But these are from his own writings from the earlier years of the Science of Mind monthly magazine. So it's just particularly inspiring to know that these are his words. So I'm going to go to today. I really am, which is the 14th of September, and we're going to start there. And the title for today's talk is, I Recognize Physical Perfection as My Divine Birthright. And that's awesome. It absolutely is. And the quote that he uses is from the Bible, from Psalm, "Whither shall I flee from thy presence?" Which really, you know, he's saying that God is everywhere, right? There's no place we can go that is absent of Spirit. Spirit is, what was it Ernest Holmes said? Spirit whose center is everywhere and circumference is nowhere, meaning there is no edge to it, there is no end. You can't get beyond God, because wherever we are, we're at the center. If God is present, infinitely present everywhere, then there is no edge. There is no closer to the edge. There is no getting outside of it. So everywhere we are, we have to be at the center because it extends into infinity in all directions. So let's start with that first paragraph. There is one life. That life is God. That life is my life now. Sound familiar, right? We use that as an affirmation. We call this Ernest Holmes' mantra, really. I know I do. I don't think he ever called it that. But there is one life, that life is God, that life is my life now, he would say quite frequently. Anyway, he goes on to say this: it is only when we live affirmatively can we be happy. It is only as we seek the good that we can find it. It is only when we mentally align our consciousness with abundance can we seek it out. Now just think about that for a minute. He's talking about where do we place our minds. And again, this is a little bit about really what I was talking about yesterday in Sunday's talk, is that we cannot split our focus. We can't think, you know, prosperity and worry about the bills and worry about we're not enough. We can't, you know, think peace and prepare for war. We cannot split our attention. If we're going to focus on our good, we have to focus on our good. And just absolutely let the negative go as a false belief. It is just a false belief. It's something that our minds can entertain. Very much like, you know how you can entertain a movie. You can sit down and watch a movie and get all excited about it, right? And you get all emotional, and it's a love story, or it's a horror movie, or it's a drama, and we get all involved with the characters and their storylines, and we can cry even, right? We can cry over the heartbreaking scenes, but it's not real. It's just a movie being projected on a screen. And the same is true for our false fear thoughts. They are just an image projected on a screen. And the screen is our mind. The screen is how we can entertain, oh, this can happen, oh, that can happen, oh my gosh, I have to prepare for, oh my gosh, what happens if? These are all fear thoughts we can indulge in, just like we indulge in those movies. But they're not true, and they haven't happened. And I remember Mark Twain, I think it was, right, that he said most of the worst things in the world, you know, that he could think of never happened. You know, and that's the way it is with us. We can imagine terrible things. We have that ability. We have the imagination. We can extrapolate. We can futurize. If this happens, then that's going to happen, right? And yet it may never come to pass. So this is telling us to keep focused on the good only. What can go right? What can go right? What can go right? And not entertain and spend time in the negative stuff, right? Particularly if it hasn't happened. We cross that bridge when it comes to it, if it comes to it, which most of the times it doesn't. So let's go on. We have been told to behold the face of God forevermore in everything. Now we know that we do not really see God any more than we see life. No one has ever seen life, but everyone experiences it through living. No one has ever seen God, but some people experience God's presence so completely their whole life has become a continual affirmation of peace, poise, and power. All persons have experienced this presence to some degree. It is not entirely unknown to anyone. Being told to behold God's face forevermore means we should recognize life, poise, power, peace, joy in and through everything and everyone. This has been called practicing the presence of God. We can all do this with certainty of splendid results. This is practicing the presence of God, and we can do it anywhere, anytime, regardless of the situation we are in. Whether we're in peace or chaos, especially when we're in chaos. It is so much more rewarding, you know, when things aren't going our way, or things aren't going well, or things aren't going according to plan. It is an amazing practice. It is a spiritual practice for us to practice the presence of God in any situation, particularly when things have gone haywire, to really understand God is present there too. God is right here with me, as me, through me, handling all of this, whatever it is. Whatever it is, and what a wonderful gift it is to remember the truth of that statement. To remember the truth of that statement, because, you know, even if we forget, it's still true, right? You get that, right? Even though we forget it, even though we walk away from the truth of our divine natures, even though we get caught up in the swirling, chaotic events of our lives. The drama, the pathos, the melodrama. Yeah, the melodrama stinks. Good drama is great, but melodrama is not good. You know, but we get caught up in all of that stuff. We forget who we are. When we remember, that's practicing the presence of God. When we remember, oh, peace is just a heartbeat away. Peace is just my remembering who I am. And then what happens is we remember, and then we bring peace to that event, whatever is happening. We bring peace to that condition, you know. And here's the thing about that. When we do that, it changes the condition. It changes the condition. It changes what is going on. It changes the energy. It can't not, right? When we become the peace of God in any situation, it changes that situation. And it may even change the other people around the situation. Because when we practice the presence of God, we're remembering who we are. We're bringing all of that power, all of that presence, all of that peace to wherever we are, right in that present moment. And when we do that, it absolutely changes the situation. And when it changes the situation, it can change the conditions, right? The things that we were so caught up in might just dissolve away. They might reveal themselves to be something other than what we thought we were dealing with. It gives Spirit the opportunity to transform that event into something else. You know, and when we were all spun up about something, then it winds up being nothing. It winds up being nothing because we have remembered who we are. We have brought the power of Spirit into that condition. And then all of a sudden, right, it's not that condition anymore. It's something else because it's been transformed by the peace of God, by the love of God, by the wholeness of God, in and through and as that situation. And it's because you allowed yourself to be that empty vessel that Spirit can flow through and change conditions around you. Let's go back to the final paragraph and see what Ernest Holmes had to say. So I love the last paragraph because the last paragraph is always the affirmative part of this essay. It always tells us what to do, right? The practical part of our practical spirituality. He says, today I recognize the divine presence in everything. In the midst of darkness, I see light. At midnight, I sing a song to the dawn, knowing that eternal light dissipates all darkness. Today I recognize beauty in the midst of ugliness, peace in the midst of confusion. Today I convert all doubt into certainty, all sorrow into joy, all fear into faith. And that's really what we do, isn't it? When we remember who we are, when we remember that we are the presence of God in form on earth. When we remember God has no way of demonstrating anything in the physical world unless it is through its creations. And we are that. We are that. I mean, all life is that, but certainly humans with the power to reason, with the power to figure these things out, with the power to extrapolate wisdom from these ancient texts and from the writings of all the mystics and the sages and the saints. We have the power to be able to do that, to align with these truths that have been eternally true and will always be true, to align with them, to allow them to flow through us into the world, to allow them flowing through us into the world to change the conditions around us. And so that peace of God that flows through us absolutely lands on everything around us and converts the condition from chaos to peace, or from whatever it was to peace. Now what that means is the peace is there all along. And that's what Ernest Holmes has always said, right? That we don't heal. The healing is actually the revealing of truth. And the revelation of truth is the fact that it's been there all along. But we're so caught up in the conditions, we're so caught up in the circumstances, we're so caught up in appearances that we fail to see the truth that is underlying all things. And when we stop and take a breath and go within and remember who we are, and we remember whose we are, we remember we are simply spirit having an experience, and we allow it to flow through us and out into the world, we are the place where the change occurs because we've said yes. We've said yes to allowing Spirit to use us for a greater good. Let's pray out. I give great thanks for this time spent together, for the revelation of truth, for knowing that God is right here with us, in us, as us, through us, and that we are allowing ourselves to do the work of Spirit on earth as we would see it done because we have said yes to Spirit, yes to its divine work, yes to being the agents for change, for the upliftment of all mankind, for the idea that we will awaken all of humanity to its magnificence, to know that this practical spirituality transforms not only our lives, but the lives of all around us. I give great thanks for these moments, knowing and just knowing and being assured that they are blessed, they are led, they are guided by Spirit always. I simply let it be, and so it is. Amen. So good to spend this time with you on a daily basis. I love these uplifts. I hope you love listening, and send me your suggestions for more uplifts, maybe different things. We're going to stick with 365 this week, and maybe there'll be some new things to come that we can discuss on the Daily Uplift. I will see you tomorrow from my heart to yours vision. We are one. There is no distance. Spirit is forever, everywhere, and we know this. We are one from my heart to yours. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.